Yep, 7:01. Let's do it. Are we live? All right. Perfect. Well, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Hopefully y'all can see us and this doesn't get cut off. But we're excited to be doing this Q&A with school board candidates tonight. And this kind of came about short notice, but we did our candidate forum at the Botanical Gardens a few weeks ago now. And we heard from a lot of people who said, we really want y'all to do something just specifically for the school board races. We said, that's a great idea. So tonight we're going to be doing a quick Q&A with school board candidates and the college board candidates. This won't go forever, but we are excited to do it. And y'all know me, I'm Thomas Warren. I'm editor of the Amarillo Pioneer. Noah Dawson, if he wants to unmute himself for a second, he's one of our columnists. He's going to be asking some questions tonight. And there he is. And our guest joining us tonight is Dan Butcher. He's from the High Plains Pundit podcast. And he's already interviewed all the candidates, so he knows them well, but he's going to be joining us tonight to ask questions. So say hi, Dan.
Hello, everyone.
All right, perfect. Well, we told the candidates 7:05 to start AC Board of Regents. They're going to be up first. Tonight, we're going to try to get through this fairly quickly. AC Board of Regents is first. AISD Board of Trustees is second. And the Canyon ISD Board of Trustees is third. So we're going to try to get through these fairly quickly. If you're watching on YouTube and you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat because we're going to be trying to pull those for y'all as well. But I think that's everything we need to go over before we get started. And it looks like we have 5 of the 6 AC Board of Regents candidates in the waiting room. So we'll go ahead and let them in and just kind of go over how we're going to do this tonight.
Let's see.
Okay, I think everybody's on. And we're just missing one candidate. So if that candidate joins us here in just a minute, we'll let them in the Zoom room. But thanks everybody for being with us. We really appreciate it. AC Board of Regents, y'all are up first. We're going to be giving each of you a minute for intros, and then we're going to go into some questions that we've written, some questions people have sent in for us. And basically the big thing is this is just a Q&A tonight, and so we kind of want to let people get a chance to know who y'all are because y'all got to do your introductions at our thing at the Botanical Gardens, but we still need to know a little bit more about who each of you are. So I'm just going to take it in the order that it's popping up on my Zoom list, if that's fine. Just keep your intros around a minute. We're not going to ding you on time because we're not running on too tight of a schedule tonight. But it looks like we're about time to get started. So the first person I see on my list is Jason Fogelsong. So Jason, if you want to go ahead and start just around a minute, sir, tell us about yourself and why you're running for the Board of Regents.
Well, I'm Jason Fogelsong, and I'm running for the Amarillo College Board of Regents because I want to make sure that the average working class voter in Amarillo is properly represented and heard on the board. I want to increase transparency and accountability to voters so that the people in our city know what's going on at the board and how the board affects their lives every day. And I want to help make sure colleges run fiscally responsibly, but also successfully.
All right, that's perfect. Saving us some time. So next up on my list is Brady Clark. So Brady, go ahead and take it away. Same thing, a minute. Tell us about yourself and why you're running.
Yeah, sure. I am a native Amarillo, went to AC. I am the executive director of a nonprofit here in town called Square Mile Community Development. And I am the director of urban ministries at First Pres Church here in Amarillo as well. I've been in the nonprofit sector, faith-based and just, regular nonprofits for a little over 25 years, and mainly as a director and executive director. Some of those are local organizations, some of them were national organizations. And I've just been very involved in the community and trying to make sure that we're building better, stronger communities for basically my whole career. I got into this because I had some people ask if it was something that was on my radar. And to be very honest, it was not at all. But the more I started looking at it and thinking about it and talking with others, the more I thought, this is something that I have good insight into the community. I work in all areas of Amarillo as well as across our Panhandle region. And I thought, this is something that is in my wheelhouse and something that I'm passionate about in terms of making sure that our population is educated, that we're providing great opportunities for everybody, regardless of their socioeconomic background. And it's something I'm very passionate about because I want to see Amarillo strong. I want to see all of our people represented. And I want to see us in a good position to move forward in the future, mainly economically, honestly. And the college is a big vehicle of making sure we have a strong local economy.
All right, perfect. Next up on my list is Michelle Fortunato. So Michelle, go ahead and take it away. Same thing.
Sure. My name is Michelle Fortunato, and I'm running for re-election to the board. I'm currently on the board. I've been on the board for 19 years. And some people would wonder, why do you want to keep doing this? But I really love Amarillo College and love our students. And there's still things I want to get done. I got my undergraduate degree at Texas Tech. I'm a first-gen college student in my family. I worked as a school teacher for several years. I got a teaching certificate with my bachelor's degree and taught school in Houston and Austin and Deer Park, Texas. And then after several years, I decided to go to law school. So I was 33 years old when I went to law school. And in that respect, I relate to our students, who many of whom are going back to school in their 30s with a family. I quit my job, had no income, and just really took it seriously and did well in law school. But it was hard. It was a sacrifice. Not having any money was not easy either. But got a law degree, and I thought that was going to really help my family going forward, and it certainly did. And so I relate to the students. I really feel like I am one of them in a lot of respects, first gen, and then first generation student, and then law school at age 36. And so that's my story, and I hope to continue to be on the board.
All right, thank you so much. Looks like next up for us is Mike Yazbek. So Mike, same thing, go ahead and take it away.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely interested in becoming a member of the board of Regents, because people don't understand how important this really is as far as the community is concerned, and the outreach that the Amarillo College has, really how far it goes into the lives of the city. For example, having been a business owner, having owned a taxi cab company, a couple of them really, and having been on the road as a truck driver and a pilot car driver, having been in radio and television for years, there are so many things that people don't understand. I went from Amarillo College to the Columbia School of Broadcasting in Dallas, and I learned more at Amarillo College than Columbia School of Broadcasting could have ever taught me. I mean, the equipment is top notch. The school is top flight in everything they do. One of the people I went to school with in the journalism classes at AC went on to become the voice of NASA. Larry Keenan went from Amarillo College to play in the NBA for the San Antonio Spurs after the Dallas Chaparrals. Amarillo College has always had people that go all the way to the top. Chaz Mixon is on Spotify now, went straight from Amarillo College in 1982 to KZEW in Dallas. I mean, you just don't do that. That was one of the #1 radio stations in the country. So the station is one of my passions, because it's my background with AC, as is the truck driving. Even though it was Texas State Technical College at the time, AC took that program over. So overseeing these things that reach out into the community, the diesel mechanics and auto mechanics programs, the dental hygiene programs, the various programs that don't necessarily lead to other colleges. But the problem is not enough people understand this, and there's not enough outreach as to how far the college has reached in the last century. And so it's time to step up and be the public relations person, really, and the liaison between the students, the school, the faculty in the school, and the public at large in the school. And that's what the board is designed to do.
All right, that's perfect, Mike. Okay, and I think finally joining us is Irene Hughes. So I'm going to let Irene take it away. Same thing.
My name's Irene Hughes, And I have actually worked at Amarillo College for 12 years as an advisor for the Student Support Services Program. It was a government grant that took care of first gen and the people in poverty and also the disabled. I was elected 2 different times as Classified Employee of the Year at the Moore County campus. I love my time at Amarillo College. I enjoyed the staff, and I enjoyed instructors, and I enjoyed all the students. We had a great time together, and I worked with even from the 18-year-olds up to an older man that I encouraged to go to college for the first time at age 82. So I was quite an advocate for Amarillo College and bringing people in at all ages and all different kinds of lifestyles, whatever. And I did find that from working with the workforce for 8 years as a youth specialist, I found that it was difficult for some of these students just to walk through the doors of Amarillo College. So that my passion is really for helping the students to transition. And I actually worked with WT at one time in the talent search program. And we worked with students from bringing from the high school over to college. And that was a great program that really made them more confident because somebody was there to help them get there and actually open the door. And I've always thought that customer service was so important. That very first time that someone came through, those students that were already afraid, that customer service who was at the front door, the ones that saw them first, was so very important to make sure that they would come back again. So I have a lot of insight as well as far as the students, as well as staff and what they're thinking and feeling at this time.
Let me go ahead and stop you there, Irene, and we'll go ahead and get into the questions. Thanks everybody for giving us that brief little intro. And it looks like the only candidate we're missing is Jay Barrett. So if Jay joins us a little later this evening, we'll let him in the Zoom room. But we're going to go ahead and start with Brady, since you moved up to the top of the list with our first question. One of Amarillo College's greatest strengths, I think everybody will agree tonight, is the affordability of the school. The fact that, you know, the courses are so affordable, it's a great place to start your 4-year education, or you know, get a certificate that helps you further in your career, or even, you know, get whatever license or, you know, program you need to start your career. If you're elected to the Board of Regents, how are you going to make sure that Amarillo College continues to remain an affordable place to get an education?
Great question. You know, Amarillo College has done a great job of not raising its tuition in a very long time. And in order to continue to do that, we've got to make sure that we have a very good funding method. And I think we have to balance that because, you know, as taxpayers, as folks here in the community, we don't want to pay more taxes. And at the same time, we also want to have a very strong and robust and affordable, excellent community college as well. And I think that, you know, as with their strategic plan of 2025, I think finding those other fiscal ways to bring in better money, to bring in alternative funding streams. You know, HB8, it looks like it's going to go through down in Austin. That's going to bring, you know, $4.5 million back down into this, and it's going to help out with being able to do that. So I think by finding and making sure that we're ensuring we develop alternative funding streams that don't raise taxes as much as we can possibly help it, we can ensure that we keep our tuition low. One of the things that is going to make a big deal on that is the results. The better quality of education we're providing, if we're making sure that our students are transferring out, they're getting certificates, they're achieving those desired results, it's going to directly relate to our funding.
Okay, perfect. On these questions, we're going to try to get through a few of them, so I'm going to try to hold all of your answers to about a minute. So next up, Irene, you moved up to second place on our list. So same question, how are you going to make sure Amarillo College remains an affordable place to get an education?
Well, I believe that there's, as far as I can see and studying what's going on, I believe there's a lot of money coming in, and I think we need to make sure that the money that's coming in is used to the best advantage. And I've heard lots of stories about this, that, and the other, but I really believe that we need to be more careful with what what we already have. I know that there was the 89 million came in earlier, and then we were asking for 45 more million. And I think the taxpayers are ready to know where all this money is going and where it's coming from and where it's going to.
That's perfect. Thank you. And Michelle Fortunato, same question about affordability with AC.
Sure. Thank you. Well, we have the Thrive program, which provides free community college to graduates from Amarillo High School. So that's a good start. And if you transfer to WT or someplace, you've got 2 years free at AC and you can finish anywhere you want. We also apply for a lot of grants, and we've got a $160 million grant right now that we have applied with partners at WT and Texas Tech and the AEDC. I mean, it's a phenomenal grant. If we got it, it would be, there'd be 5 colleges that would share that grant, but we would be the fiscal agent for it. And it's pretty awesome. But yes, keeping taxes, we don't want to raise the taxes. The 89 million, I think Irene talked about, is what the citizens approved for our bonds. And if you've driven around the campus, you can see where that money went. It's very much going into the construction of various things.
Thank you very much. Jason Fogelsong, you're up next. Same question about affordability.
I think the focus on grants and scholarships is really important, as well as making sure that whatever taxpayer money we do take in is spent responsibly, and to make sure that the voters understand how that money is being used. I'm at this point in time, with the way the economy is and seeing people struggle all the time, I'm going to be completely opposed to tax hikes and bond issuances and things like that, unless something is some kind of an emergency situation, because the people just can't afford it. So we have to focus on using the money that we have the best way that we can. And I know that some of my colleagues on the board, should I get elected, are going to have a lot of information and guidance to help me with that. But I want to make sure that I'm communicating openly with the people about it.
All right, perfect. Thank you for saving us time. Mike Yazbek, finally, same question about affordability.
You know, Amarillo College has always been affordable. It's not expensive. When I went there back 43 years ago, tuition was about for me, was $250 per semester. That's $500 a year. Now it's still well below what you would pay elsewhere. And with the new programs for the Amarillo High School students, you know, for the AISD students coming in with this free tuition, when you transfer out of Amarillo College going to a major university like Michigan State or University of Texas, that 2 years is going to equate to somewhere around $100,000 in tuition costs. So it's definitely affordable to do this, even if the tuition goes up a little bit. But as far as keeping it affordable, that's what's really been great about this area here, is there have always been opportunities, even with work study programs within the college, where the students will be actually doing services for the college and still get their tuition as, quote, an employee. So there are all kinds of opportunities, plus the PR advantages that the college have with a 100,000 watt radio station and an on-air PBS station that basically has 3 channels. The college has got it. It's something really good.
All right, I'm going to stop you there. And Dan Butcher is ready to jump in with the question. So take it away, Dan.
You bet. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I'm going to address this question to all of the candidates. Obviously, Amarillo College has a lot of great things to offer everybody that attends, but times are changing and community colleges have to adapt. From 2019 to the fall of 2021, according to the Texas Association of Community Colleges, community college enrollment decreased by over 10%. So my question to each of you is, how do you think Amarillo colleges and community colleges in general need to adapt and change to continue to serve their students? And I'm going to start this question with Jason.
Okay, well, we already have some progress going on with the innovation outpost that I've learned about, with some cutting edge technological programs, cybersecurity, things like that. But we also have to focus on the certificate program they offer, the career skills, their training opportunities. There's a shortage in like plumbing and electrician work, and like, what's the other one I'm thinking of? Agriculture. We need to find ways to cater to those things. and also make sure we're focusing on the jobs that exist in the Panhandle and Amarillo specifically, because we have a really big service economy here, and there's not a lot of opportunities for these students once they get their new skills to really stay in the area. And I'm not sure how to solve that other than to try to partner with local businesses to give the students an incentive to stay.
Okay, and let's go with Brady with the same question.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jason's right. I think, Innovation Outpost is a really great example of some things we're doing that are very different, that are offering certifications or offering these types of technical things that people can work and be able to do that. And in fact, they're offering stipends for some students to be able to actually get paid a little bit while they're going through that. When you look at the trend across the country in terms of college enrollment, you are seeing that. And I think our economy is a great example. People want to go to work. There's lots of jobs to be had. So getting an education isn't priority when you're making money. I think that is a little bit of a pendulum swing, and I think it will bounce back out. I think that is kind of typically the way this works out with our economy. But as long as we are continuing to stay cutting edge, I think as long as we are making sure that even our programs that allow students to get dual credit while they're doing their kind of basics to get up to speed, they're getting tutoring, they're getting credit for those, making it easier and quicker to go through. All of those types of programs that the college is doing assist in that. I think as long as we're keeping our eyes on that, we will continue to be innovative and making sure that we're meeting the needs.
Okay, and let's go with Mike next.
Well, a lot of the problems with the students being down, the enrollment being down during those years from 2019 through 2021, the one big elephant in the room that nobody's mentioned is the fact that everybody was cooped up with COVID. We were locked down. So what do you do with that? A lot of people did not have internet access, or they didn't have the time to sit on the internet all day, or they didn't have the internet or the internet bandwidth. So the Affordable Connectivity Program didn't come in until 2021, which really helped people a lot. But unfortunately, that did not help the drop in enrollment because of even though the distance learning was there, people didn't have the access to the equipment or to get into the service and spend the time online because they just didn't have it. And of course, enrollment everywhere was down. But it's coming back. Amarillo College needs to push a little bit harder with the public relations and offer these distance learning programs if you've got that. The ACP is one of the greatest things that the federal government ever decided to come out with. It gives you a discount on your internet access, and it's for everybody that made less than $100,000 a year.
Okay, and let's go with Michelle.
Yes, COVID was bad for enrollment. However, Amarillo College, I believe, we were against the trend, and we did not lose enrollment in those years. We have stayed flat or just a little bit above. So we're bucking the trend, and good for us. One of the most exciting things we've got going on right now is partnering with the AEDC and the city of Amarillo for its new project called The Range. And the goal of The Range is to make this region of the state a food hub for the whole state. And if we get that accomplished, we will have lots of businesses and that need employees, and we've got the staff that will tailor our curriculum to those programs and to the skills that those employers need. It's very exciting. It's very innovative. It's very new, but I think it's got a lot of prospect, and I think we'll keep bringing in students as long as we can.
Okay, we'll bring Irene in to answer, and then back to Thomas.
Some of the things that I've learned as I've been online and really trying to find out about colleges and how things are going, one of the concerns that I've heard about is the values that some of these colleges are taking on and changing their values, and there's students that are, I've heard of a lot of them leaving the public colleges for the religious colleges because of the things that are being taught that aren't really a part of the curriculum, but it's propaganda. And so I think that's one of the things that we need to work on at Amarillo College is to the diversity, equity, and inclusion part that has been trained for at least 3 years now, that needs to be checked out and see if that's really the way we want our college to go. Because I know there's people right now that are concerned about whether they're going to have their students going to Amarillo College or not.
All right. Thank you, Irene. So we are kind of to the end of the AC portion. So we're just going to go down the list. I'm going to give each of you this fun little question, and we'll just go ahead and start with Irene since she's on my screen. If you were elected, now this is a tough question because it's hard to, I think, describe yourself in such short terms. But if you were elected, how would you describe your philosophy as a regent in 3 words or less?
Detailed, organized, fiscal. I'm running out of words.
That's good. Yeah. Jason, you're next up on my list. Same thing. 3 words or less. How are you going to be as a regent?
Responsible, accountable, and transparent.
All right, perfect. Then Michelle Fortunato, same thing. 3 words.
Integrity, truthfulness, hard worker.
All right, perfect. And Brady, same thing.
I would say experienced, open, and community focused. It's a compound word.
That's good. That's fine. And Mike, same thing. 3 words.
I would say, I want to say forward-looking, challenging, and standards.
All right, perfect. Well, candidates, we really appreciate each of you joining us, and we wish you all the best. We're going to move on to the AISD race. So thank you all for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's see if we can get these candidates in here. Okay. All right, it looks like I'm gonna see. This is the fun thing I forgot about running forums over Zoom. Is it's so hard to handle it whenever you're trying to get everyone to leave the room. Okay, so it looks like we had 4 candidates a minute ago for AISD, and only 3 are showing up now. So let's go ahead and let them in, and we'll see who we have. There we go. Okay, let's see. Who all do we have? Okay, I see Kimberly Anderson's with us, and Connie Brown, and John Mark Ballou. And who is iPhone?
That's Robin.
That's Robin. Okay, perfect.
Is my camera not on? No.
Nope, we can't see you.
Okay.
And Connie and John Mark, same thing. We can't see all. So
Okay, there we go.
yeah.
Let's see.
All right. It looks like we got everybody. I think John Mark, still can't see you, but I know you're there.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. So at the very least. Okay. I know that Ryan Brown and Steve Trafton said that they will not be joining us tonight. They both had prior commitments. So let's see. Is that everybody? I think we're still missing 1 candidate, right?
Dick Ford.
Dick Ford. Okay. If Dick shows up, we'll go ahead and let him in the room. But I think we got everybody with us who is going to be with us then. So I don't know if y'all saw what we're doing for AC Board of Regents, but we did about a minute for an intro. You can go a little over. We're not going to be timing you too hard on these, but we're going to have questions, and keep your responses to about a minute on the questions so we can get through as many of these as possible. And I'm going to go ahead and go down the list of who I see here. So we'll just go ahead and start the intros, and I'll let Robin Leah take it away since she's first on the list.
Okay. I'm Robin Leah. What else do you want to hear? Why I'm running again?
Yeah. Tell us why you're running again. Yeah.
Okay.
You probably memorized that by now.
Yeah, I pretty much do. So I decided to run for school board because I felt that there was a lack of mothers on the board who had kids in the classrooms, and we're dealing with this every day. And so I think we need more parents on the board that actually know what's going on in the classes every day and are living it every day. So that is why I decided to run.
I love it when the candidates save us time. It makes our job so much easier. So Connie Brown, you're up next. Same thing. 1 minute. Tell us about yourself and why you're running.
Are you sure you don't have this memorized? You want to just do this?
Yeah.
We're all at the end of this now. We're all at the end of the forums. I am running because I believe I can make a difference. I believe that we have a difference that needs to be made. I was involved with about 50 volunteers that were looking through curriculum and that we have in place in our school and in our schools. I'm sorry, and I decided that I would help out. And as I got in there, I was like, oh, we need some changes. And I have ran a private Christian school for 20 years. And I am a business person and I do understand budgets. But most importantly, I just have a heart for us to protect the lives and minds of our children. And I believe it can make a difference. And so that's why I'm running.
All right, perfect. And I was going to say that, I bet your intro, Kimberly Anderson or Robin or John Mark can probably do it for you because y'all have all heard each other's spill so much. Okay, John Mark, you're up next. Same thing. Tell us about yourself and why you're running. All right, you with us? Yeah, okay. Oh, I think you got yourself muted.
How's that?
Perfect.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it's just really to kind of pay it forward a little bit. This school district and this city have done more for me and my family and given to me and my family more than I have given back. This is an opportunity, I think, for me to again to like pay it forward and do what is best for students. Keeping that in mind, making the decisions. It's kind of a twofold thing. Do what's best for students and equip teachers and administrators who work with our most precious assets, which are children, and at the same time being stewards, responsible stewards of taxpayer money, and making sure that the decisions we make for the benefit of students also makes fiscal sense. So really, it's just a continuation of trying to pay it back to this school district and city that have been so good to me and my family.
All right, perfect. And finally, Kimberly Anderson, go ahead and take it away. Same thing. Give us a little intro on who you are and why you're running.
All right, I'm Kimberly Anderson, running for re-election to the Amarillo ISD Board of Trustees. I love Amarillo. I was born and raised here, and I want nothing more than this city to flourish and everyone in it to flourish. And I know that starts with a strong school system. And I have deep roots in Amarillo ISD. I was a student and a product of Amarillo ISD. I went to Eastridge Travis, graduated from Paladuro High School. I have 2 boys that go to Amarillo ISD schools. I was a teacher in Amarillo ISD, and for the past 4 years, I've been serving on the school board in Amarillo ISD. And that gives me a depth of knowledge and experience to be a strong advocate for our students and our teachers and our community. In 2019, I ran because I believe you deserve a board of trustees that acts in the best interest of our students, that advocates for every student, and that is transparent, approachable, and accountable. And we have made progress over the past 4 years, despite all the unprecedented situations. But my work is not done. And so I'm running for another term and would appreciate your vote for re-election to the Amarillo ISD Board of Trustees.
All right, perfect. We have one person in the waiting room, and I don't know if this is an AISD candidate, so I'm going to let them in. We'll see. This might be Dick Ford. If it is, we can just let him do his intro right now. While we're waiting on seeing who this is, Dan Butcher, do you have a question that you would like to ask the AISD candidates?
Oh, I've got a lot of questions I can ask these candidates tonight. So I'm gonna start some questions, and I'm gonna let Thomas moderate the time. So if you go over, he'll let you know. But I want to start off with this, and I'm going to start off with Kimberly. Then we'll just go down the line. Currently in the state legislature, I think all of you are aware there's several pieces of legislation that could have a dramatic effect on local school boards, in particular school choice, the education savings accounts, etc. And so what I'd like to know from each one of you real quick is, what is your stance on this legislation? Are you for it or against it? Bad idea, etc. Let's start with Kimberly Anderson.
So I am against the current proposals that are in the legislature. They divert taxpayer dollars to private entities that have no accountability to the taxpayers. Now, I want to make it clear that our school district is not afraid of competition, but it is not competition if everybody's not playing by the same rules. Our public schools are subject to a rigorous, if flawed, definitely flawed, accountability system when it comes to academics and finances. We have to educate every child that walks through our doors. We are required by federal law to provide services for special education and other special needs. We are subject to a number of laws and regulations and requirements that private schools are not required to do. And private schools can decide not to serve a student at any time. They get to pick and choose their students. And so I am against sending dollars that the tax dollars my neighbors paid, intending to go to the school system in their community, the public schools, sending it to private entities that have no accountability to them, because your public schools are governed by publicly elected officials, and you have that accountability.
That's your time. All right, perfect.
Okay, let's go with Connie Brown next.
Well, this is a matter that I've said that I could probably argue well from each side. I see issues on both sides. I have been looking at this for 30 years, probably. I do believe that the Republican Party platform states basically that if this takes place, that it would be with no strings attached. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think there are going to be strings attached. And I don't know what those strings are. So I guess to answer the question simply is, I see both sides of the argument, but at the end of the day, my 3 parts of my platform are that I believe parents are the stewards of their own children. I believe that teachers need to have control in their classroom, and I believe that students need to be there to be educated and not indoctrinated. So I am a conservative. I'm a true conservative. So I have to say, I have to land on the side of parents should have the say-so of where their children go. And I understand tax dollars are involved with that. But I also understand that there's a lot of parents that pay taxes that also pay for other schools. And I also know that there's a lot of parents that can't have those private schools without this.
Yeah, and I hate to stop you, but that's your time.
Okay, let's go with John Mark Blue next.
Well, I think vouchers, Dan, are a red herring. They do not do what many pose they do. You can look at a number of states and see that. The latest example is Arizona. What it does do is help just a select few of upper private school tuition, but it does not help lower income families. It will not help them at all. And what it does is it weakens the public school system. And again, as Kimberly said, it's going to private schools who have no accountability. They don't have to educate the disabled. They don't have to educate special ed children. They just have no accountability to the state. Texas ranks 43rd in public spending per pupil, 43rd. If you had vouchers, we're probably going to drop to 46, 47, almost dead last in the United States. And so vouchers are just it's a program that sounds good on paper, but in practicality, it just does not work and weakens a system that teaches 5.4 million public school students. So I'm against it.
Hey, let's go to Rob and Leah.
Okay, well, this is what I feel. I feel like a lot of the argument is that it creates competition. But when you have competition, you're all playing by the same rules. And so let's take, for example, a race. We're all going by the same stopwatch. And if we don't all have the same accountability, I don't see how there can be competition. My children actually went to a private school. And when they came out of that private school and we chose public school, they were actually behind. They were behind in math and science. And so my feeling is you have to have accountability. I do not believe the government saying there's no strings attached. There are strings attached with the government pretty much in everything they do. So it doesn't just affect the private schools, it affects the homeschool parents too. A lot of times why parents homeschool is they don't want the government coming in telling them what they can do. If you take that money, there could be strings attached. They could come in and tell you what you can teach and what you can't teach. So it has to be a level playing field. And in competition, we're all going by the same thing. So I am not for school choice. And
That's your time. Yeah.
okay.
And Thomas, will you indulge me with a follow-up with each one of them real quick?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. So we have gotten a lot of questions from people about the bond election that took place with AISD, I guess last year now. Feels crazy that was a year ago at this point. But, you know, it has been. So looking at that bond, those bonds failed, but there are still some needs that exist with the schools. So I'm just going to go ahead and let Connie Brown take this first, since she's first up on my list. In what cases would you support putting another bond on the ballot? And are there any needs at AISD that are pressing enough right now that you think need to be addressed in the bond in the next few years by the school board?
Again, I am a fiscal conservative, so I'm not going to be the first one ever to jump on the train with the school bond. However, in cases of emergency or dire things, there are times that we do have to spend tax dollars, you know, and we have to look at that. I'm not on the school board right now. I don't have access to all the information that I would need to make a qualified decision, but I can certainly guarantee the voters that I will be a strong conservative voice, and I would always look to other places, ways that we can find money. And also, you know, I think sometimes we think we need to build something that's so large or so expansive when honestly we could do something simpler and still meet the exact need that we have.
All right, thank you. And Robin, Leah, you're up next. Same question.
I believe that we really need to look at the needs and the wants. Is it really a need that we have, a very pressing need for the students? If so, let's look inside our budget and see if we can meet that. I know from personal experience, because I've been helping fundraise, fine arts is a department because I'm living it every day and looking at the band hall at Tascosa High School and their practice halls. And I know, and I am passionate about fine arts. I can say that right now. My daughter is a harpist at the Tascosa Band and Orchestra. I had one that went through violin. And so right now, that's a huge need because I help fundraise money for it. And so am I against all bonds? No, I think it's a need basis and really looking at it and seeing what's in our budget and then moving on from there.
All right, perfect. And John Mark Ballou, same question.
Yes, so whether you voted for the bond or not last year, the voters clearly spoke. And I think what they said was, we will not vote for a bond this costly. So we have to look at first of all, we have to look at the budget. If something is what I would think is a need and is not in the budget to pay for, then we have to go to the public and say, what will you accept? It doesn't do any good to throw something out there that the public will not vote for. And again, as Robin and others have said, we had to make a list between wants and needs. Yeah, we all want everything, but there's certain things that we really need. And then we have to convince the public, the voting public, that if we do go to a bond, that it is worth the cost, and it would be an acceptable cost. Last year, obviously, was not. The voters spoke. We need to listen. We need to go back to the drawing board if another bond proposal comes up in the future.
All right, thank you, John Mark. And before I let Kimberly Anderson answer, do we know who Judy is? That's not Dick Ford, is it? I don't know.
That's not his wife's name, so I would assume it's not him.
Okay, it's okay. We'll figure it out.
It's Laurie Gilliland. I'm CISD. My computer thinks I'm Judy.
You're up next, so we'll get you in just a second. So Kimberly, same question about the bonds.
So everyone made really, really great points. So I'm going to try not to be redundant because of limited time, and there are things I want to say. So the first thing is, I cannot imagine myself voting to put a bond on a ballot again unless we have committed a year at least to communicating with our community and talking about what we're asking for and the why of that ask. And so that's that part of the question. I think it's really important for citizens to understand how complex school funding is. We have two different tax rates. One is maintenance and operations, which is our everyday budget, which is payroll, supplies, that kind of thing. And the other is INS, interest and sinking, which is debt service for bond payments for construction. And really the only way for us to have money for construction is either to issue debt or to take it out of our M&O budget to find a place in there. And with us, the way we're funded on the basic allotment and average daily attendance. And so the legislature sets a basic allotment, which is the base amount they think we need to. I know it's way too much time. We're not getting any more money per student this year than we were in 2019. And there's been 16% inflation. And so it's really hard to put back money for construction projects when you're working with less money per student every year.
Sure. That's great. I want to ask this specific question. We haven't done these for any of these races, but I got one in, for Robin Leah that I want to ask her specifically, and then we're going to wrap up with all of you. Robin, we got a question in on our email a little while ago about your platform and your policies, and the fact that there have been some rumors that have gone around about your position, I guess, on Amplify and some of those issues. Can you just address that for everyone really quickly? And if anybody else wants to jump in on this question, feel free. But Robin, since it was directed to you, if you want to go ahead and address it.
Sure. Yeah. So I found out about Amplify the same time everybody else did at a board meeting. And then there was lots of rumblings about it. So I took the initiative and went and met with some curriculum coordinators at AISD. And then I went to the meetings and I started to hear the parents complaining and everything. So I think it's great. Amplify was brought in because they needed to fill the gaps of learning that had taken place. And I've learned this from going to the schools. Amplify did that. I love it that the parents spoke up about the concerns that they have. And I also love it that the district listened to them. They pulled people out. They looked at it. They've taken stuff out that will not be there next year. I've gone into the classroom. I've looked at what the kids are doing. I've been in at least 25 classrooms since March. I visited with the teachers and the principals and administrators, and kids are reading, kids are engaged, kids are learning. And so I support that. If a parent ever has a concern, absolutely say something. You need to say something. If you don't want your kid participating, don't participate. The teachers will work with you. The administrators will work with you. But burning down the barn to get rid of a couple of rats is not the way we do it.
All right, that's your time. Perfect. Does anyone want to add anything on the Amplify issue, since that's become fairly controversial this year?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Connie.
I just, that is the curriculum that I was discussing that I helped to review and helped 50 volunteers to review. And I understand that there has been a lot cleaned up, but I have just this week, we just with current data have produced about I don't know, it's probably a 15, 20 page magazine that has the issues for CISD, also AISD, and also the libraries, school books, but it also has amplify information in there that we find problematic and that is current and is still in there. So my concern is I do know that some things have been taken out, but I don't think we're there. And I am very suspect of the Amplify curriculum. And so if someone would like that, they can go to my website or my Facebook page, and I can send them the booklet or get it to them.
All right, perfect. If
Hey.
anyone,
Can I ask a question real quick?
yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, what's your solution? What is the solution if you get rid of Amplify? What is your solution? I haven't heard any solutions, and so I'm just curious, what is the solution?
I would have to say, and I've said this in public forum before, I don't think, I think there are other curriculums that we can look at and have more confidence in. I'm not saying that this is an overnight fix. I think we're looking at possibly maybe 18 months to turn around. I don't have an exact on it, but I don't think it's something that we can just close the book on and go to sleep and have a peaceful night's sleep with the situation where it is right now. Do I have the answers? No, I don't. But one of the answers I don't believe is to leave it in place.
All right, thank you, Connie. Well, if anyone or if no one else has anything to say on that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. We did this question with the AC Board of Regents candidates, and I'll give it to all of you now. And we're going to let Kimberly Anderson take this first just to wrap up. I know this is a hard question because it's hard to describe yourself in, you know, such short terms, but if you're elected to the Board of Trustees, how would you describe your philosophy as a school board trustee in 3 words or less?
Kids first. Let's make that compound. Knowledgeable, hardworking.
All right, perfect. John Mark Ballou, same question, 3 words or less.
Listen, study, and act.
All right, perfect. Connie Brown, same question.
Conservative, leadership, teammate.
Okay, excellent. And Robin Leah, finally, same question.
Authentic, reliable, and responsible.
All right, perfect. Well, candidates, we appreciate all of you so much taking this time out of your Sunday night to talk to us. We really appreciate y'all taking the time to also speak with voters about what matters to you. And I hate to kick y'all out of the room, but we're about to do Canyon ISD. So thanks so much, everybody, for being with us, and best of luck.
Thanks, Thomas.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting us.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we got most everybody out. Let's see.
I don't know how to get out.
I can remove
Sorry.
you.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm having a hard time getting out.
You're good. You're good. Okay, excellent. And I'll let who we have in the waiting room in. Okay. I know that we have some candidates. Noah might know better because he's been corresponding with Canyon ISD candidates. Do we have anyone who has said that they will be joining us a little later? I know there was a meet and greet tonight. Since Dan's here.
I'm here. We're here.
Yeah. Well, I'll just kind of watch the room to see if anyone shows up, and we'll let them in. But since Canyon ISD is kind of Dan's wheelhouse, you can see who we have with us, Dan. So go ahead and get the intros started. We're giving each of you 1 minute for the intros, then we're going to try to keep the questions to about a minute each. So, Dan, if you want to go ahead and get us started.
Well, I can't see who I've got here.
Oh, no, you can't?
No, I can't. So
Okay.
who do we have?
We have Claudia Burkett, Jared Wirt, Catherine Wygand, and Lori Gilland.
Okay, hold
I
on.
think, because I don't see anyone else. So
you can say Claudia, Jared, and who else?
Catherine and Lori.
Lori.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's just, you know what? So the first person I see on camera is Claudia. So Claudia Burkett, let's start with you. Why don't you give us a quick intro?
Oh, you might also just tell us which place you're running for, since we don't have.
Yes,
that
please.
on
Which
here.
place you're running for?
Okay, I'm running for place 3, and I'm running because I love this community. I was taught at a young age that, we need to give back to our community. I'm a proud of a spouse of a Kenyon graduate. All 3 of my children are Kenyon High School graduate, and my grandson's currently attending. I'm the executive vice president of Education Credit Union. I've worked there for over 30 years. And I think being a mom and a Mimi, and along with working at education, has allowed me many opportunities to volunteer throughout the district and to build positive relationships throughout the district. I have ample times to volunteer throughout the district and to serve. And I think I'm an independent thinker, and the things I would want to focus on is campus security, keeping critical race theory and pornography out of our schools. And I want to have an environment where all CIS students can experience opportunities to learn, grow, and lead through the paths that they choose, whether it's college, military, workforce, or a trade skill.
Okay, let's go with Jared Wirt.
Hi, Dan. I appreciate you guys having me on tonight. I'm Jared Wirt, and I was born and raised in Canyon. My family has a long history here in this community. I have a wife that teaches for the district, and all 3 of my kids have grown up here. And so, I've just got a love for Canyon ISD and just want to see it succeed, to continue to succeed. For the last almost 22 years, I've worked for Randall County Sheriff's Office. Obviously, public service is what that is about, and it's what I'm about. That's what I want to continue to do with Canyon ISD. Safety and security is near and dear to my heart, and I've had the opportunity to serve in that capacity at least this year with Canyon ISD, partnering with them and looking at their the facilities that they have and hardening those. Also working alongside the teachers and the administrations and making sure that they have the tools that they need in order to keep their students safe. And so that's the biggest reason why I'm running it, and what I want to continue to do with Canyon ISD.
Okay, and let's go with Catherine next.
Hi, I'm Catherine Wiegand, and I was first elected to the Canyon Board of Trustees in 2011. And I have to tell you that school board governance is different than anything I have ever done. And so I'm grateful for every year of the last 12 years where I could learn and grow and share my experience with the other trustees. Both of our boys graduated K through 12 from Canyon ISD. So for 9 of my 12 years, I had a student in school, and I know what it's like to be a parent. As president of the Bivens Foundation, I managed 12 employees, 3 facilities, and a $4 million budget. And so I know how important it is to get everything you can out of every dollar and report that back to the taxpayers. I've attended First Baptist Church in Amarillo for over 30 years, and I've done everything from serving food to opening doors to chairing committees and teaching Sunday school. So I love this district, and I want to see it continue to grow and reach higher levels of excellence.
And let's go with Lori.
AKA Judy. That's what my computer says, right? Yeah. So I'm a WT graduate. I've spent 32 years in education. 15 of those years I was a Canyon ISD teacher. I taught math and science. I've been involved in so much in this district. And the reason I'm running for school board, I'm a retired teacher, and all of a sudden I'm decided to run for school board. And I'm not done caring about our students. and I'm interested in their education. I really have a lot of experience in education. I have classroom experience. I've managed school budgets, and I've fostered many parent relationships within the district. I'm so connected in the district. I'm on the leadership board for I Heart Canyon, and right now I'm orchestrating a summer lunch program to feed the children in the north part of the district. And I'm running because I feel like we need to have someone on the board with a background in education. And I think my 32 years of experience will help me be a very well qualified school board member.
And of course, Lori's running in place 7. I'm going to start the questions with this because this is certainly something that we've seen take place on the local, state, and national level. And that is parents are, they're standing up in their voices saying, hey, we want a bigger part in our children's education. We want a better partnership with our local school board, with our local school districts in educating our children. And so I'm going to start this question with Lori, and we'll go back through the list. If you are elected to the school board, how do you propose to make sure that we have a better working relationship and a better learning environment with that working relationship with parents, between the school district and the parents?
Okay, that's a great question. And it's one I have a lot of experience in. And like I said, I was a teacher for 32 years. And so I really know how to connect with parents. And I do believe that in order for a child to be successful, it's a partnership between our parents and the teachers. We want our parents to have a big role in their child's education. And I think a school board member should be visible in the community. They need to be active in what the kids are active in and pay attention to what's happening in the district. I've reached out to many people in our community lately, and they're excited about what's going on in the district, but I'm also hearing concerns within the district. And I think part of the way you bridge that relationship with parents is you listen, and then you kind of give them the right avenues on where to go. If they have an issue, who do they talk to? Use that chain of command, because a lot of times parents just need to talk to someone. And then I think it's the school board's members' job to lead them in the right direction.
Okay, and let's go with Catherine next.
So I think one of the biggest things we can work on is just communication. Number one, we need to do a better job of letting parents know what committees and other avenues exist for them to be directly involved in how the district functions. We have a lot of great committees like the District Advisory Committee, the Safe and Security Committee, Instructional Book Committee, but a lot of parents aren't aware that those exist. So communicate better about the options that are already existing for them to participate, but also think of more ways that we can have them provide input on a regular basis. We also need more opportunities for just everyday two-way communication. We've talked about having quarterly town hall meetings where just a few of the board members get together with citizens and talk about concerns and receive feedback. And I think that would be so helpful. We've been blessed with parent input in the past couple of years that have made us be a better district and put some policies in place that we did not have before. We want parents to be as involved in the school as they want to, and to help us build the best school district that we can.
Okay, and let's go with Jared.
Yeah, Dan, it sounds like we all agree that communication is kind of at the top of the list for parental involvement, two-way communication. And parents are getting involved more across the nation, locally and in our state, because they should. We all agree that we want to hear whatever the concerns are. Obviously, whatever the praises are too, whatever we're doing good and whatever we can improve upon is what we want to hear from. And so I think that we need to make sure that the communication tools exist and that they know what they are so that they can connect with whoever it is they need to connect with in order to get problems solved or whatever it is that they need to get done.
Okay, and Claudia?
I concur with all of that. It all boils down to communication, and the biggest part of that is listening. And I think we as the board need to have a little more opportunities for the parents to give us their feedback.
It's a very touchy subject, and we have to work with the parents on. So what do you think is the best way to handle the situation involving sexually explicit books and other forms of teaching material that's used in the classrooms in the school district? Claudia?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I was going first. I think the biggest thing, I've said this before, I would love to see when a student checks out a book, I would like to see an email sent to that parent. This is the book and this is the jacket about that book, so that they are able, whether it pornography or anything, just be able to talk about that book. 100% do not think any of those books belong in the schools at all. And so I want us to see, I know we've changed some policies, and unfortunately these last books that we bought had some more books that are not appropriate to have in the school. So I want us to see about giving parents more time to look at these books and review these books before they're purchased, because I want to be a good steward of the taxpayers' money. I don't want to buy these books and then just have to put them where only you have to have parents' written permission to get them. But I think, again, it comes down to communicating and listening to the parents and giving them an avenue to know, not just a book, but what electronic device did the school check out to them, anything like that. I think the parents, we need to communicate with them and let them know, this is the curriculum, this is the book, this is the electronic device that has been checked out to your student.
Okay, Jared?
Now, let me first just say that I haven't heard a single candidate or a current board member or administrator that wants anything inappropriate in our school. The things that we've built on in order to make sure that we continue to monitor all of those things to make, and it starts with us. It's going to start with school board, and it's going to start with Canyon ISD administration. And when we look at a purchase of books, we're the first kind of line of defense, right? We're the ones that need to vet it and make sure that what we're putting out, a list to the parents of prospective titles, that we're confident that the things that we're putting out there are what we've gone through and are appropriate. And so when the parents get it, have a plenty of time to look at it and make sure that what they think, they can come back and give those opinions to the school board as well. I think it's just more layers of firewall, for lack of a better term, to make sure that that stuff's not slipping through. Now, we're all human. We all make mistakes. Sometimes those things might slip through the cracks. And when they do, we need to have processes in place in order to quickly get them removed. And I agree with everybody else that has said, the parents are the final line of defense. Parents need to communicate with their kids about whatever it is that's going on at schools.
Okay, and Catherine?
I'm grateful for our recent parental input that has really brought this to light for us. The district immediately stopped the purchase of new books, and we haven't purchased any new books since that time. We have put out a list. It's about 40 to 50 books per elementary, junior high, and high school. And we put that list out on the website. So any parent, any community member can look at the list, read through it. It's a much smaller list than we had to begin with, and voice any concerns. And then any books that are already in the libraries, there's a form that's right online where they can go and they can write down the name of the book and just submit it and say, I have a concern with this book. And all of this has come about because we listened to parents, we listened to their concerns, and we immediately started taking steps to be sure that only appropriate books were in the library or purchased moving forward.
And Lori?
Well, I agree with everyone's comments so far. If you look at the Canyon ISD policy, if you've spent time and read the policy, it's a good policy on how to choose books for our district. We just need to make sure that we are actually following the policy and doing what the policy says as far as timelines go, the number of books that are being vetted, et cetera, et cetera. Books are so important in the classroom, and teachers are very careful about making sure that the books are appropriate. And of course, we don't want anything on the shelves that's inappropriate. So there's really nothing left to say that someone hasn't already said, but I'm grateful for the parents' input and that this has been brought to light. And we do need to just be careful about what's in front of our children.
Okay, we're going to kick it back to Thomas for more questions.
All right, candidates, thank y'all for being with us again. And I'm going to go ahead and let Catherine take this question first, and then I'm going to work my way down the list of who I can see on my screen. one of the issues that we continue to hear about with school districts across the state, and I think this is kind of why the tax relief is such a big deal with the school districts. It deals with the fact that people feel like taxes just keep going up, and they feel like at the same time the economy's bad and people are losing their jobs, and stuff's just kind of tight right now. So if you were elected, how are you going to make sure that the tax rate remains low and livable for those in Canyon ISD? And as a part two to that question, in what cases would you support placing a bond on the ballot if that's even something that you would consider?
So first of all, Canyon ISD is very fiscally conservative. Our current tax rate of $1.14 per $100 of house valuation is the lowest it's been in over 9 years. And that's considering the 2018 bond that was $196 million. Our tax rate is lower than, say, Lubbock Cooper, who is at $1.35. Friendship ISD is at $1.34, and even Bushland is at $1.15. And so we recognize that we have to turn around and face the taxpayers, and we want to let them know that we're aware. We're at the grocery store just like they are, and we know that it's hard to pay for anything these days. When we passed the 2018 bond, we promised we would not bring another bond forward for at least 10 years. So I'm here to tell you that I'm not going to say anything with the B word in it until at least after 2028, because the voters trusted us and gave us so much money that we did what we needed to do to improve facilities, add facilities, so that we have the room and the technology and the support that we need for these kids.
All right, perfect. And Jared, you're next up on my list, so same question.
Yeah, I'd agree with Catherine on that. You know, our current tax rate being what it is, I wouldn't be looking to increase it either. You know, just like she said, we're all taxpayers, and we want to make sure that we're fiscally responsible with the money that the taxpayers are giving us. Obviously, we need to look at what we need to give our teachers and our students in order to be successful. But we can do that while keeping tax rates as low as we can keep them. Again, I'd agree with her on the bond too. I don't think that at this point that it would be appropriate to be looking at any bonds based on what we've done in the future or in the past. Thank you.
All right, perfect. And Judy, I'm sorry, Lori. same question about affordability and bonds.
Right. I think like with any budget, you have to decide what your needs and your wants are. And as a school person, you would need to make sure that our kids have what they need and choose that first. I am fiscally conservative, and I know that at this point, I would not probably be in favor of a bond.
Perfect. And Claudia, I think your last same question.
So I agree with what all of these have said, and I'm physically conservative also. And I think the only thing I would like to add to that is not just the wants and needs, but we got to look at maintaining what we've spent all this money on. So looking at putting in some kind of the budget that we already have and spending that on maintaining what we've already spent the money on. And another thing that goes into that setting tax rate, and I think the administrators have done a really good job on this, is being able to, the bonds, when they put those bonds out and pricing those, they've done a really good job of keeping that at a really low rate, and that has contributed to the $1.14 tax rate that CISD has been able, along with our growth. So that's the other thing. We got to continue to see this growth to support the $109 million that we spent on these schools. So I just think that you got to keep considering what are the wants and needs of the kids, but also how do we make sure that we're maintaining what we need to keep a strong faculty in place to teach our children.
All right, perfect. And this is the last question we're going to have for you all tonight, wrapping up. We've asked the candidates in the other races this question, and this is a fairly tough question because it's hard to define yourself in such short terms, but we're asking everyone, if you were elected to the Board of Trustees this year, how will you define your philosophy as a school board trustee in 3 words or less? So Claudia, would you like to take that away?
No, not really. Let me see. I think it's just my character, caring, trustworthy, and responsible. That's what I go with.
All right, perfect. And Jared, same question.
Okay, I'll say integrity, values, and safety.
All right, perfect. And Catherine, same question.
So I would say compassionate and conservative.
All right, perfect. And Lori, finally, what are your 3 words?
Education for all, excellence, and integrity.
All right, that's perfect. Well, candidates, we really appreciate all of you spending part of your Sunday night with us, and we wish you all the best. And we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So we appreciate y'all being with us. Thank y'all again. And I hate to do this, we're going to have to kick you out of the Zoom. So
Thanks, guys.
thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right. Looks like it's just us again.
Just
So,
us.
I think that went pretty well. And we actually finished 2 minutes ahead of time. So
That's good considering you had me on and I talked too much.
no, you're just fine. You're just fine. Well, so what we did was for the candidates, and I'm sure somebody's going to watch this who wasn't here tonight. We've told the candidates who weren't here that they can send in just kind of a short 60-second video, and they have my email so they can send it to me, and we'll put that on our YouTube channel. I also heard, I think the stream's still going, but I've heard from a couple people who said that it's cut in and out a couple of times tonight. So sure. Well, no, I think it went perfectly, guys. So I really appreciate it. And the important dates really quick before we let everybody go. Early voting begins next Monday. That's April 24th. So 1 week until voting starts. I guess ballots for those who are out of town or 65 and older, or I think confined to a jail is one of the things too. But
I think so. Yeah.
it's probably not going to be many of those people. But yeah. That'd be haven't you learned anything about libel? You can't say things like that. So that, or maybe that was because Dan. I will tell you, this was kind of a tough thing to put together tonight because Dan. We didn't really want to ask him to do this because not because we hate Dan or anything, but because he's actually recovering from an illness, and so we appreciate him being a trooper and joining us tonight.
Hey, you know what? Anytime you call, I will try to be here, my friend. So you've done plenty of stuff at the last minute for me. I've needed help and stuff. So always happy to do that. And one thing I will add is if you listen to us talking tonight, you know that we're strong advocates for getting the vote out, bringing you the candidates, bringing you information. We want to increase that voter turnout. We don't want to discourage you. We want to encourage you. So if you've got any questions about these candidates, we've talked to them, and you can ask us, ask the candidates themselves. I've found that almost all of them have been very accessible and willing to talk, so, ask them so that you can make a decision when you go vote. Go vote.
Yeah, I will also just mention really quickly, I think we're going to be trying to do a Q&A like this with maybe some of the city councils this week, but I'll be reaching out to them about that. But either way, guys, we appreciate it. Everybody who watched us tonight, we really appreciate y'all. Make sure you got about a week, unless you're an absentee voter. So you got a little bit of time, go ahead and go research the candidates, make sure you make a plan to vote and know who you're voting for. So thank you all for being with us. Thank you again, Dan. Thanks, Noah. We appreciate it, and we'll see y'all soon.